Hello all, my name is Yossi and today's subject is something that I feel is very misunderstood. I plan on keeping this and all future videos as short and as to the point as possible. While a 5-minute video isn't long enough to cover this entire subject, I do hope to provide a reasonable bird's eye view. This teaching is dedicated to the memories of my parents, of my father and teacher Avram Shmuel ben Simcha Bunim and mother and teacher Chana bat Shimon. In religious discussions I've had over the years, I've often heard the claim that the rabbis invented the oral Torah. Those who say this may give any number of reasons why the rabbis did such a thing, but all of these reasons boil down to one thing: a claim that the oral Torah is man-made and therefore need not be observed. This claim is usually countered with examples from the written Torah, the first 5 books of the Tanakh, what Christians call the Old Testament, that demonstrate that it is impossible to understand the written laws properly on their own, and therefore an oral Torah is not only required, it must be of divine origin. While I agree with that statement, the Bible text itself clearly demonstrates, without need for examples, the existence of an oral Torah or tradition since Israel's first days as a nation. In Exodus chapter 18, Moses' father-in-law, Yitro, Jethro, comes to visit his son-in-law and the elders of Israel. ויבוא יתרו חותן משה ובניו ואשתו אל משה אל המדבר אשר הוא חונה שם הר האלוקים. And Yitro, that's Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and wife, those are Moshe's of course, to Moshe to the desert where he was encamped at the mountain of God. The Torah text testifies that the following day, Yitro saw Moshe judging the people min ha-boker ad ha'arev, from the morning until the evening, and he was not pleased. He tells his son-in-law that neither he nor the people would be able to keep this up. He recommends delegating responsibility by appointing judges who will handle the simpler questions while bringing only the most difficult to Moses. The idea is approved, and Moses appoints sarei alafim, sarei me'ot, sarei chamishim, sarei asarot, judges over groups of 1,000 men, 100 men, 50 men, and finally 10 men. With a nation of around 600,000 men, Moses therefore appoints over 78,000 judges, or in today's terminology, ordained rabbis. Jethro then says that the most difficult questions will be brought before Moshe, the greatest prophet of all time, and as such a man with a direct line to God himself who will answer those questions that are too difficult even for Moshe himself to answer. The question is simple. What was Moshe teaching if there was no reason for an oral component to the Torah? Now, the hierarchy of judges certainly continued through the 40 years of wandering in Sinai. The Bible doesn't have to document every single word or teaching that was taught for us to understand that people spoke to each other and asked questions during those desert years. We know that the system of judges, rabbis, continued with Joshua, the Yehoshua, as Moshe's replacement. We know that Yehoshua was replaced by judges, etc., etc. There's no indication anywhere that the rabbis and judges and prophets system ended until the last prophet, Malachi, early in the Second Temple period. And while prophecy may have ceased, the rabbis certainly continued throughout the Second Temple. Otherwise, who would have decided that there would be the 100% rabbinical holidays of Purim and Hanukkah with all of their rules and regulations? In conclusion, we see directly from the biblical text that an oral tradition existed from the time of Exodus, and we know from our personal experience as Torah Jews that the oral tradition, first instituted by Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses our teacher, over 3,300 years ago, continues to exist and thrive until this very day. Thank you, Kol Tuv, and God bless.